All right, so we're going to start with number one. And number one is asking us to change 1,240 divided by 10 and make it into a multiplication problem. So I know that my answer is going to be 1,240, and then I'm going to say 10 times n equals. So I'm really dividing it, but I know that all I have to do is make it 124, and that is my answer because 124 times n or times 10, I just add a 0 to it. All right. So that equals n. I want to multiply 8 times 8 is 64 plus 10 times 5 is 50. And then I want to add these together. This is 4 and 11, 114. Great. We are finding ones that are not parallelogram. A parallelogram has two sides that are parallel. This side and this side are parallel to each other. This side and this side. So it can't be this one, they're both parallel. Of course, I know a square has all parallel sides, and I know a rectangle has all sides that are parallel. So when I look at it, I see this side and this side is parallel, but not these two sides. So D is my answer. Number 12, it says to find, I'm sorry, number 4, it says to find all factor pairs for 21. Well, I know that 1 times 21 is. I know it can't be 2 because if I look at the last number, it's odd, and it only can be 2 if it's an even number. And I know that 7 times 3 is a factor. Here are my last two factors, and I know that 4, 5, and 6 are not factors, so I know that I am done. Those are my factor pairs. Number 5, we're rounding to the nearest thousandth. I underline the thousands place, draw my arrow. This 7 tells me I need to add one more to my 6, so it'd be 123 and 187 thousandths. What's my next one? I have to find factor or fractions that are equivalent. I'm looking at this and I can see that this is reduced all the way. Let me look at this. I know 6/8. I can divide 6/8 by 2 over 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. And I can see that these two fractions have to be equivalent because they are the same. Excellent. When I reduced, I found. All right, 9 times 5 is 45. 5 times 3 is 15. 8 times 9 is 72. 8 times 3 is 24. Add it together, that's 2. 9 and 7 is 16. Carry my 1. 10, 11, 12. Carry my 1. 2,262. Okay, if I look at this next question, it's asking me to fill in this pattern. And it says for every one cow, there are 7 flies. So I notice that this is increasing by 1, and this pattern is increasing by 7. So all I'm going to do is add 7 to this, and that's 28. Add 7 to this, and that is 35. And there I go, my two answers, 28 and 35. The next thing I'm going to do is take a look at my fraction model. So let's put this down here. And I have to color in 44 hundredths. So I'm going to color in 44 out of my 100. I would write it like this. They want to know how much more is my 10th place than my thousandths place. And it is 10 times more. All right, folks, I do not have equivalent fractions. My denominators are not the same is what I was trying to say. My fractions don't have to be equivalent, but my denominators have to be the same. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at 10 and 5, and I'm going to say, hey, what could I multiply to 5 in order to get 10? You're right, I can multiply 2. I need my denominator to be 10 because this one's 10. And I knew that I could multiply something to 5 to get 10. Whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. So now 4 times 2 is 8. And now I'm ready to add 8 tenths plus 3 tenths is 11 tenths. And guys, if I look at my 11 tenths, I can see that my numerator is greater than my denominator. And I know that I could take away 10 over 10, which really equals 1 whole. And what do I get? I am ending up with 1/10. And then I'm going to turn this into my whole number, which is 1. So I'm going to write my answer up here, 1 and 1/10. Either answer right now would still be okay, 11/10 or 1 and 1/10. All right, looking at number 11. There are 19 important citizens, and each car could carry 3 of them. I need to figure out how many cars I need to carry all of them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide. And 3 can go into 19 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. I subtract and I get 1. The answer to my division problem is 6, remainder 1. But the answer to my extended response question says that I have to get every important citizen in a car. And I know that there are only 3 people that can fit in a car. And if I get 6 cars, there is 1 person left over. And so I know that is not enough cars because I cannot have anyone left over. So what I have to do with my answer is I have to round it up. I have to add another car, and my answer would be 7 cars. That way, all would fit. One of my cars would only have 1 person in it. Number 4, if I am looking at my ruler here, and they want to know, let me see, that's not working out so well, but they want to know how many millimeters this is, and all I do is count my millimeters, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's where it stops. So my answer is 4 millimeters. All right, going down, number 13. It says I need to find an expression that is 77 divided by 7 and then multiply by 5/10. So my answer would need to be C. Number 14, they're asking me to first estimate. So I changed 12 and 7/10 to 10, because I can do that in my head, times 3, and that equals 30. So I know my answer should be in the tens. Now let's multiply. 9 times 7 is 63. 9 times 2 is 18. And that is 24. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 2 is 11. And I have to put my 0 place marker, cross this off. 2 times 7 is 14, and I'm carrying my 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2, and then I'm going to add them together. That's 3, 8, 6, 3. Then I have to figure out where my decimal goes. So I look at all my numbers after my decimal, and there are 2, so I move it over 2 spaces. My answer should be 36 and 83/100. 10 to the 7th power, how do I write it? Well, of course, I'm going to write 10 times, be careful, it's multiplication, 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. I have to do that 7 times because that is what the 10 to the 7th power means. It means I multiply 10 by itself 7 times. And then to find out what it equals, I count my zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I put 7 zeros, and then my 1 for my 10. Very nice. Finally, my last one is writing in words. This is what it should look like. 12 and 97 hundredths. All right, if you have any questions, put your hand up.